again, welcome back to another episode. We are super excited, to say the least, to be diving right into the 80 series with you. Now, we did pick it up from Queensland on Queensland Rego, but as you would know, transferring it to New South Wales isn't always easy, especially when we have a lot of things to tick off for roadworthy. So let's not waste any more time here. We're going to dive right into the episode and see what we've been up to getting the 80 ready for registration.
So as you can see, it's looking a bit different to when we bought it home, a lot different actually. As you can see, there's been a bit of panel repair on the back. We've tidied up a few dings, got them out. There was a few bits of bare metal as well that we're showing, so we've decided to cover all that up. We've got parts of it in primer at the moment, parts of it have been painted. So yeah, we've tidied up a lot. We've got the front guards off at the moment, they're getting all cleaned up, a little bit of rust, a couple of tears in them from being banged into, they're got to be welded up. Granddad's actually been underneath the car and he's been checking over everything, any surface rust, and just getting onto that and getting rid of it, treating it and going over that with a fresh coat of paint. So as you can see as well, all the tint has been ripped off all the windows around the car. It was an ugly blue and it was all flaky, so I decided to scrape all that off. It's going to get a fresh tint as well, all around, nice dark one. It'll make it look all finished and nice and neat. There's been a bit of silicone that has been found on a lot of spots around the car, so it's been a matter of cleaning all that up, making it look tidy and presentable, and yeah, it's just a matter of finding rust where we can, managing to fix it and getting it back to how it was originally. And speaking of rust, I'm going to take you to the front and we're going to have a look at what we've got to deal with there. And just behind me in the footwells is a very big hole where rust has eaten away at the flooring. So we've got it on the passenger side and the driver's side, two big holes that we've got to fully replace. So we got to source some parts, cut them out of maybe a wrecking or something like that. I wish that someone actually sold the part itself, but that's not the case. So we're going to have to rip that out, replace it, weld a new bit back in, but that's a big task because the dash is probably going to have to be pulled out as well, so that's a big process that we're going to have to do. That'll be very shortly, I'd say, but yeah, she's a work in progress, that's for sure. It's just a matter of doing all this hard yards and then getting her on the road.
We have also decided that it is time to rip out the rear drawer setup. Now, it wasn't originally our plan to get rid of this. We were going to keep it how it is for the trip we have planned, but
she's seen better days. It's old timber that's swollen and just a bit manky. So what we're going to do is we're going to rip it out and we're going to replace it with something a lot lighter, just because when off-roading, on the hard tracks, you want to keep in mind your weight.
Michael's just had a delivery for some goodies.
Yeah, we got the tailgate storage compartment, so we're going to have a look at this and see what needs to be done to fit it. They've given us a template and everything, some sound deadening, so we're just going to have a look at it, see how it sits and get stuck into it. But this one can be found at the cruiser store, so it's a neat little thing to add storage. We're probably going to put like snatch straps and recovery gear down there, so let's get into it. So yeah, there'll be two little locks here. It'll be on latches and you'll just click them. That'll pop up and you'll be able to access whatever you store in there. So neat and tidy little compartment. So this here is the template that they give you. So you pretty much just, we'll sticky tape it down onto the tailgate and pull it out nice and tight and even and mark out where we need to cut. You can, they say you can either do it with a grinder or tin snips. We're probably going to do it with a grinder to get a nice flush cut. But yeah, there's a few things. They even chucked in a stubby cooler, and as I said, they give you sound deadening as well to put in there, just to reduce the noise of stuff banging around. So yeah. So as you would have seen, guys, we showed you this the other day, the template and the rear storage for the tailgate. But I've got the template sitting here with the the bolts in the holes holding it down. I'm about to peel this bit out and then mark it with a marker pen, and then take all that off and get to cutting this piece out so we can get it in there. But yeah, a little bit of a process, but they give you instructions that I'm reading, so it sounds pretty straightforward, but we're going to get stuck into it. Rightio, so we got the template sitting pretty well. We're just going to unscrew these three pieces here, get them gone and out of the way, and then I'm going to go get me marker pen and mark this out as straight as I possibly can, and then start masking up, oh well, not masking up, but covering up everything with like a sheet or something, just so you protect the back. But then we're going to get stuck into it.
So Michael would have showed you that they've cleaned up the edges and painted them up so they're protected now from rust, and he is busy with the sound deadening.
Yeah, just getting it measured up and making sure that it's all going to fit in nicely. So I have to cut it to size in these little pieces here and a piece in there, and there's a few pieces to go with it. So we'll just measure it up, make sure it all fits and get it installed, and then whack the lid on.
This is going to be fun, getting it in flush without sticking it.
So yeah, we go. Try and like hold it above. It doesn't always go to plan, does it? So guys, as you would have seen yesterday, we were doing the finishing touches to the tailgate, but we ran into a little bit of a ding. From about here to across to here was a big ding, so we had to bash that out and get it nice and flat, so this thing sat nice and flush for when it opens. I'll just open it now. I'll give you a look inside. It's a little bit dirty in there, but you see the concept. It gives us a lot more space to use on those longer trips that we're going to be doing. I'm thinking like recovery gear or something, like ropes. Don't know, it's just another space for us. So that's it all done and in a nutshell, but it does look kind of messy in here, but we're just cutting out some rust in the back also and replacing that while we're at it. Don't need any of that, so that's all made up and just about to be welded, so we'll get on to that. But other than that, that's the back of the 80 pretty much done and ready to go for rego, so we're getting pretty close, guys. As you can see, I'm in the back here. I'm just inside the rear quarter panel, and I'll tell you what, she's a bit dirty. Get a look inside this bucket here. That's probably about a quarter's worth of how much dirt is in here, so it's a bit of a sign to all of us to definitely flush out your inner guards if you can, because it is caked in there and it's probably been in there for years. So jackhammer away and try and get it all cleaned up. If you can't tell already, it's a bit of a restoration project before we do any mods really, so we've just cleared out all the bolt holes in the back here, and we're never seizing all the bolts and clean them up as well. So all the back in here should be tidy and uniform and how it was, as close to original. So guys, as you can see, the hole has been cut out of the passenger side here. Bit of rust there if you've been watching. So we've got that cut out. Now it's just a matter of making that piece back up. There's a couple of little holes on the back that are going to bolt onto the inner guard that we've got to make up. So it's going to be a bit fiddly, but it's going to be fun. So we're trying to get this side done.
This is the passenger side footwell
Yep.
that was cut out. And as you can see, she's seen better days.
Yep. Rusted out fully.
So the new project is making new ones.
So we put the swage lines in this just then. So what that does to the metal is it actually strengthens it. So Grandad's had to measure up all where they mark out, and we've just rolled them. So yeah, we're just in the process of marking them out on the driver's side as well, and we'll get stuck into that.
Michael was just saying, because these holes were fully rusted out, we're trying to work out where this piece goes, but
It just seems to
fit in there nicely.
fit there somewhat okay. Compared to the other one you got no chance almost. And it's sitting pretty central in that hole too,
there.
where it is. So it makes a lot of sense to be there. This here is the replacement piece for which bolts to the inner guard. So we've just got to locate some holes and figure out where the old ones were, but this is the piece here. So we're just going to spot weld it in and put these end pieces on. They're made separately. So and Grandad's even put some drain holes in it so that if stuff gets in there it can easily just drain out. So very smart.
Rightio guys, we have a very exciting day today. Long anticipated wait. We are finally getting the new footwells in. It's been a huge process making up these new bits. It's been a bit of a challenge trying to get the bolt holes in the right place and all that kind of stuff, because as you would have seen, these pieces were just completely rusted out. So yeah, it was a bit of a mission, but getting into the welding today, get those new footwells in. We're one step closer to getting this 80 finished, ready for registration. Yeah, we're on the final stretch, so let's go and see what's happening over there and get right into it. So let's take a look at what's going on in here. So this is where the hole was, so that's been all cut out as you would have already seen. And yeah, that's the new piece ready to go in. So it's screwed in place, ready to be welded in. So as you can tell, we decided to not drop the dash out, so bit of extra obstacle to get around.
Bit scary, but it's what you got to do.
Sure, it'll be fine. We're just tacking at the moment, but the coating up underneath the car is like burning, so we have to be really careful with that. We're going to try and chisel off some of it to sort of get it out of the way, because you know the last thing we want is, don't want it to light on fire or something. I don't know, it's scary, but woo, we gotta get it done. So yesterday we got most of that floor done on the passenger side. We just have a little bit more to weld at the top of it, but the most of it is done and it's primed. today's job is we are getting on the driver's side. We've got to cut out the rust that is on the driver's side. So we're just at the moment getting ready to take the inner guard off so that we can have access to underneath to cut that bit of rust out. Bit of work in there today, but it's all getting a move on. So let's go and see what's going on. I feel like when it comes to rust in an old vehicle, it sort of like turns a lot of people off, but there's definitely ways to fix it. I mean, we're not professionals. Luckily we do have somebody helping us who has a bit of an idea of what to do, but yeah, we've had differences with like fully rusted out bits, as you've seen, and then we've also had parts of that have just been surface rust. So there's a lot of different ways to manage it. The big thing is obviously identifying it. You got to identify where it is, and some of the rust that we've uncovered is, you know, we've had to pull the whole car apart to see it. So I mean, there's probably a lot of hidden rust in a lot of cars, but yeah, the way that we've identified it is by literally gutting the whole entire car, and piece by piece you sort of uncover a little bit more rust. So it's all a bit of fun, but basically what you got to do after you identify it is sort of manage how you're going to fix it. If it's surface rust, you would obviously just sand it back to bare metal and then put some rust converter on it, and then prime it and respray it. But yeah, obviously with these other big jobs, you know, you've got these big holes of rust, so you've got to fully cut out that whole piece, get another bit of sheet metal to replace it, and then it comes down to a lot of work in reshaping it to get it exactly how it was before. There's some extra tools that you'll need for that, but yeah, it's all a bit of fun, and then back to welding it in and making sure it's fitting that space properly, and then yeah, priming it up and painting it again before we put the car all back together. But it's all a bit of fun. So yeah, we hope you guys have been enjoying watching, and we can't wait to get this other bit of the floor out and replace it with a new piece.